Summary of the Narrative of Frederick Douglass by Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass is born into slavery in Tuckahoe, Maryland, around the year 1817. His mother, Harriet Bailey, was a slave, and his father is a white man of unknown identity who may have been his master. Douglass sees firsthand how cruel slavery can be when he is young and sees his first master, Captain Anthony, whip Douglass's Aunt Hester very badly. The colonel hires Captain Anthony, and he lives in a house on Lloyd's huge land with Lloyd's boys Andrew and Richard, his daughter Lucretia, and Lucretia's husband, Captain Thomas Auld. Lloyd lives in the middle of his farm on a property called the Great House Farm. Some slaves think it is an honor to work there because it is so beautiful. Lloyd is a mean master, and like other slaveholders, he will punish the slaves if they are honest about how bad their lives are. One of Lloyd's supervisors, Mr. Austin Gore, is a very strict teacher. He doesn't get in trouble for killing a slave named Demby, which shows that hurting or killing a black person is not a crime. Douglass is happy to be sent to Baltimore when he is 7 or 8 years old to work for Captain Thomas Auld's brother, Mr. Hugh Auld. Hugh's wife, Sophia Auld, is a kind and loving maid at first, and she starts teaching Douglass to read. But Hugh makes it clear that Douglass can't go to school. Hugh's help only makes Douglass more eager to learn to read. He sees education as a way to get freedom. Sophia is changed by the power she gets from having slaves. She turns mean and tries to stop Douglass from learning to read and write. Douglass stays with the Aulds for 7 years and learns to read during that time. Douglass reads books that make the case against slavery. As he sees how helpless he is, he starts to lose hope. He decides to try to get away. When Captain Anthony dies, Douglass is sent back to Lloyd's farm to be shamefully judged with Anthony's animals. Douglass is given to Lucretia Auld as a gift and sent back to Baltimore. In 1832, Douglass is sent to live with Thomas and his new wife in the Maryland town of St. Michael's. Thomas is a mean boss and a fake religious leader. He doesn't get along with Douglass, so Douglass is sent to work for Edward Covey, a farmer who is known for getting tough slaves to give up. Douglass has to work for the evil Mr. Covey for 6 miserable months. Douglass is down because he has to work so hard. He goes to Thomas Auld to complain about how he is being treated, but is sent back to Covey's farm. Sanders, another slave, gives Douglass a magical root to keep him safe. Douglass speaks out against Covey and stops being whipped. Doug is sent to live with William Freeland after a year with Covey. Douglass and 4 other slaves try to get away from Freeland's, but someone plots against them, and Douglass ends up in jail. Douglass is sent back to Baltimore to work for Hugh Auld again after some time in jail. Douglass works for a shipbuilder in Baltimore and is attacked on the job. Doug learns how to caulk from Hugh's student, who works on another ship. The way Douglass caulks makes him a lot of money for Hugh. Hugh lets Douglass work for his own pay for a short time, but later takes away his license. Douglass then chooses to make a plan to get away. Douglass is able to get away. Douglass doesn't go into too much detail about his escape from slavery so that he can protect the people who helped him and make it easier for other slaves to do the same. Dougie ends up in New York after being free, and Mr. David Ruggles helps him. Douglass marries a free woman named Anna in New York. After getting married, the couple goes to New Bedford, where a guy named Nathan Johnson helps Spencer. Douglass is shocked by how well the North has done without slaves. Douglass starts reading The Liberator, an abolitionist newspaper, after he has been in New Bedford for a while. This made Douglass want to speak out against slavery at a conference in 1841, which was the start of his journey as an anti-slavery activist.
About the author. Douglass was born in Maryland as a slave, son of an unknown white guy who may have been his master. Douglass lived for many years as a slave and worked as a field hand in the country and as an apprentice in Baltimore. Douglass taught himself to read and write while he was a slave in Baltimore. This was an amazing accomplishment, especially since his master and mistress, Hugh and Sophia Auld, were actively working against him. Douglass was able to get away and made it to Massachusetts, which was a free state. There, he started reading The Liberator, an abolitionist newspaper by William Lloyd Garrison. This made him want to get more active in the fight against slavery. Because Douglass was smart and well-spoken, it was clear that he should speak for the freedom movement. Later in life, Douglass worked as an advisor to President Lincoln during the Civil War. After the war ended, he ran the United States government's foreign operations.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.